Hey guys, CreamCrazy here, and I've got a bit of bad news, but in a way it's a bit of good news. Last night, if you didn't check my Twitter out, I was so exhausted after the Hall of Fame that I really couldn't do the video as planned. And as you can probably tell, my voice is hoarse as fuck. But then again, why wouldn't it be? Now, this segment of the video is being performed to you before Wrestlemania, so we're going to try and get this done as quickly as possible. And yeah, I've got Rico H3 with me here.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, and we were both next to each other at the Hall of Fame, watching the entire thing. And you know what? While the event was fantastic, I have to say, I feel very, very unhappy because of one certain individual. I want to get this out of the way quickly because we don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it. And that, of course, is Mr. T.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Mr. T last night, his speech, which was talking about his mother and how God helped her and helped him and everything else, while the message was fun and everyone got it and everyone was appreciative of it, to me it just wasn't really necessary, and honestly it took up nearly 45 minutes, which could have been spent on Razor Ramon and Paul Bearer's family speeches. But, I mean, honestly, if you guys felt lucky watching it on the network, you were lucky. Because, I mean, Rico, you say this. I mean,
yeah, you guys got to walk away from the thing. We had to stay there and go listen through that thing the whole entire time.
Yeah, it was just. I have to. Okay, sure, Mr. T, you felt like you were doing the right thing. You were giving a huge amount of credit to a person who helped you through your life. But when you don't even talk about professional wrestling in the process of doing such a thing, I mean, it just makes it think, wow, what the hell were you paid to do? But then again, I mean, Mr. T deserves to go in the Hall of Fame, but seriously, I mean, yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, I can't remember who they managed to. I mean, Gene Okerlund's speech for Mr. T actually summed up more about the Mr. T that we were expecting from the acceptance speech than what we actually got.
Yeah, and the thing is, Mr. T didn't mention a dang thing about WWE or wrestling. That was nowhere to be found in there.
Yeah, but then again, like I said, Mean Gene pretty much did that. He pretty much got it for us.
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. T's speech, some found it hilarious, some didn't, and to see Kane come out and get him off stage to say, oh, he spent so long talking about his mama that I can't talk about my daddy, was just a fantastic line in itself.
That was a great line.
We kind of have to seek into Paul Bearer next, because
yes.
I mean, Paul Bearer's kids did a very small thing and I can't do it myself.
Oh, yes!
There you go, because yeah, Rico's voice is not fucked, he can do that. Yeah, and that was a nice little thing, and then seeing The Undertaker come out, I mean...
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
I mean, I've seen The Undertaker come out at other tapings and events before, but that was just special as hell.
Yes, that was.
I mean, this is your first time seeing Taker in a live setting, so...
Yeah, that was my first time.
So...
That was that epic experience.
It must have been. I mean, I look at that and think to myself, wow, what awesomeness was that? But, I mean, it was a great tribute. Carlos Colon, overall, the speech was good. I mean, obviously, I'm not a person who can say that they've watched a lot of the Puerto Rican wrestling and World Wrestling Council. I've watched a little bit every now and then, but not enough to say that I know the in and outs of that territory. But it was definitely a great thing to see him go in there, and I'd say Carlito and
yeah.
and Primo and Epico were just fantastic.
That was great.
I mean, honestly, just seeing Carlito there again was fantastic, and reminded me just how much I miss him as an in-ring performer, really.
I hope he comes back.
Well, we never know. I mean, he could be in the Battle Royal today. Who knows?
Yeah, because we don't know who the last three are.
Well, 4, I think. Is it 3 or 4? I can't remember. I think I got my prediction video wrong on that front. I mean, Carlos did a good speech. I mean, the one thing I notice whenever a foreign inductee goes in, or a person who doesn't speak English as a first language, they struggle with it, and then they inevitably seek into their native language, which, I mean, I'm guessing in the package they're going to show in the Superdome today, they're going to pretty much have subtitles to say, okay, this is what he said, and then people are going to go, okay, he said this, that, and we'll be happy for him. And he loved being up there, and he really appreciated it. Yeah. And, yeah, I can't really say much more about it, really. Lita's speech went quite long, but we didn't really notice.
Yeah, we really didn't. The other thing that was pissing me off about it was people was booing the crap out of the thing because the Titantron kept going in and out from showing the inductee to going back to that Hall of Fame sign.
Yeah.
And people were just going off about that, and that was pissing me off.
Yeah, if any of you on the network saw a lot of people booing Lita. It wasn't booing Lita, it was booing the tech crew for not putting the sign up there. And yeah, that was a bit. I mean, we were. I mean, we were in the nosebleed seats, having to look at the tiny, tiny screen where the lights were being hung from, and the lights were shining in our eyes. So my eyes were a bit fucked after that because I couldn't see very well when I was walking home to the hotel. I mean, Lita's speech was fantastic, thanking Mexico for getting her career started and hearing those great stories. And I mean, for example, having her the money stuffed in her bra for safekeeping, and
giving Arn Anderson and Rey Mysterio their beer.
Yeah, which was fantastic. I mean, Lita did a nice, heartwarming speech, and it overall was a fantastic thing to see. I mean, can't go wrong with it, really, can you? And honestly, she gave the Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, and the Hardys their due, which was great. I mean, even giving Victoria a name drop, which, for her being in the front row, I thought, wow, that's a bit of a shocker. I thought she was still working in TNA last time I heard. But there you go. I mean, it was a great little bit to see. Actually, a quick comment on people we didn't really expect to see. I mean, we saw Stone Cold there, obviously. So the American Dream there. We saw Michael P.S. Hayes come out in the most ridiculous suit.
It's such an eyesore of a suit. I mean, I just couldn't stop looking at Michael Hayes down there. I'm like, oh, there he is.
Yeah, I mean, we thought it was Brodus Clay at first.
Yeah,
but, I mean, if it was Brodus Clay as a face, I could totally get it.
Yeah.
But P.S. Hayes, really? I mean, I'm not a fashion connoisseur by any means, but that was a fucking disaster.
And also, we even spotted Rick the Sign Guy.
Well, yeah, we did. We spotted him somewhere in the crowd. I don't know.
Yeah.
He
was right across from us, in the other area.
Yeah, I mean, Ray was also down there too. But
yeah.
We
didn't spot him.
Yeah, we didn't spot him. Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, his speech was quite short. I mean, I have to say that Kevin Nash did a nice, heartfelt introduction after everything that Scott's been through.
Right.
It was great to see him inducted, but I mean, I wish I could have heard him speak more about the struggle he had to go through. But I think when it comes to the NWO induction...
Oh, we're going to hear much more.
Oh, indeed, because that'll be obviously he'll be him rather than the gimmick. Because I think I think everyone was saying that before this entire thing happened, was that it was about the gimmick rather than the person going in.
Yeah.
And Scott Hall himself is more affiliated with WCW, so it'll be making sense to see him go in later.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the two best speeches of the entire night, hands down, were Warrior and Roberts, but Warrior on the fact that, one, he went for his full allocated time. Linda McMahon, I was really expecting people to boo the crap out of Linda McMahon, but they didn't, surprisingly. I mean, hell, even Maria Menounos in the pre-show got more of a booing. Hell, Cena got even more.
Cena got booed out of the building. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Linda McMahon was going to get booed by the Smarks because obviously people do blame her Senate campaigns for the shifting content we've seen. But the fact they gave her a lot of respect was actually really nice to see. I mean, I ripped into a lot of fans over the night because they were continuously shouting out stuff that didn't matter. I mean, especially in Warrior's speech, saying one more match and you've still got it. And
mention Hogan.
Yeah, and mentioning Hogan all the time. I mean, if Warrior didn't want to mention Hogan, he's fairly right to, knowing these two have bad blood. But some of the stuff Warrior was saying was so good, like honouring all the people who work backstage in the company who we don't see, highlighting that McDevitt got his ass whipped by the World Wildlife Fund and he wants the F back, which got a huge amount of response if you guys saw it.
That was great.
I mean, hearing that live, and we were kind of shocked that, one, he said it, and then second, the crowd agreed. Right. I mean, he tried not to swear. The notion of bullshit detector and highlighting that he was a good guy and everything, even though he came across as an asshole. I mean, it was coming full circle for the Warrior that really kind of painted a really good picture. I mean, after years of hearing so much bullshit about him, to hear it, come out from his mouth was kind of nice to hear.
Yes, and he let all his emotions. He told us how he felt about the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior DVD, how it made him angry and also, at the same time, broke his heart.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the one thing about that is that, I mean, if anyone's going to put slander against you, even in visual or word form, it's going to hurt you. But then again, he did say no one ever said those negative things that people had to his face.
Right.
So, I mean, he told a great story about McMahon and how everyone thought, I'm going to give McMahon a piece of my mind, and then they go in and their head's spinning because they got completely outdone. To see that Warrior managed to get a push in his career from convincing McMahon that it was worth something gives an impression to me to say to other wrestlers in WWE, do that.
Right.
Do that yourself, and you'll be awesome for it. I mean, you can if you show drive and create. I've heard this from other wrestlers who were telling me that even JR was saying, if you've got an idea in the WWE and you can convince McMahon that you have the potential to push it forward, he will allow you to go forward. And what Warrior said was a pure testament of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Warrior's speech went on for a hell of a long time. In fact, it went overran because of Mr. T's fiasco in the early part of the evening. And I think, honestly, the crowd egging him on kind of dragged out a bit longer as well, which was not very pleasant for us, because we thought... I saw an era of natural conclusion when he was talking about Vince and praising Vince, and... I honestly thought to myself they would have ended it right there, but the fans egged on and it just kept going, and other people around us were saying the same thing, so...
They're saying one more match and stuff like that, and then that got him going again.
I mean, that's the problem. If you notice the speech coming to an end it. That's all I'm going to say. Don't try and egg them on to say and do more. He did mention Hogan briefly in WrestleMania 6 briefly, but not much.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we get to Jake the Snake.
Yes.
I mean, as a package, his inductor and speech were the best of the night, bar none.
Oh, yes.
I mean, Diamond Dallas Page can hold a fucking crowd in the palm of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
He is funny as hell, and I honestly have not laughed that much since I went to either JR or Foley's individual gigs that they did. I mean, I'd love to go and see DDP talk for God knows how long. He had me in stitches.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't even need to sum it up. Just go watch it if you haven't, because it's really good stuff.
That was good.
Yeah, just noting like the Cobra, having Jake the Snake staying over his house, and after all, thanking him and Dusty Rhodes for all they gave him in his career. I mean, it was a great thing to hear. And then, of course, Jake the Snake's speech was not like many of the others. He was very thankful, but also very heartfelt that, he was talking about his problems and his downward spiral and how life basically kicked him in the nuts.
Right.
And how he had managed to, thanks to the love of his family and the love of the fans, to get back to where he is. I mean, we both nearly teared up.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I had to put my glasses on because I thought I was going to tear up and I wasn't going to have CreamCrazy see me do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was really close to. I mean, I didn't, but I was so close to. But the crowd kind of ruined that a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, they were saying, "God, we love you, Jake," and just cheering, and everyone was just saying, "Shut the fuck up" to these guys. He's being heartfelt and emotional, and you're kind of ruining it.
Right.
But all in all, the power of that speech, even with his voice as hoarse as it was, he still put on a bloody good speech and reminded all of us why the hell he was such a good promo worker, because every single word he said, you believed. Because he's such a real personality that it transcended the gimmick and made him bigger than anything else.
Yeah, but I don't know though, the crowd, they pissed me off because like, bring out the snake and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, this ain't no wrestling match. This is him and being accepted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, it's more about a personal thing rather than a wrestling thing. So, I say I love wrestling fans the best of times, but times like this where there's a lot of, well, to quote Bad News Barrett, who also had a fantastic night out there, trolling the wrestlers in the front rows, we've got some bad news. If you want some decorum, have some decorum here. If you want to go crazy at WrestleMania, go crazy at WrestleMania. Don't just go crazy at the Hall of Fame where we are meant to be respectful. And honestly, the other thing we have to talk about is El Torito and Hornswoggle's thing. I mean, to end on a nice comedic moment here, after what Jake said, we needed some comedic relief, and we got it. So, to break the ice, break the tension, it was well done. It may have felt awkward, but live in the crowd, we kind of needed that.
Poor King.
Yeah, poor King, yeah. He did good on the hosting of the night. Microphone was a little quiet overall. I mean, as an experience, I'd give it a whole... If the crowd wasn't a bunch of dicks for a good point in time, I would probably give it a good 8 out of 10, but it was a 7.5 for me overall.
Yeah, Mr. T kind of messed it up for me. That made it a 7. Yeah,
I mean, overall, guys, Hall of Fame was pretty good experience-wise. I'm not sure how it was like for you on the network. If you have any views on it, put it in the comments section, and, well, I'll be back in however many seconds after this intermission for my WrestleMania live reaction. Rico, you want to say your byes at this point?
Ta-ta for now.
See you guys in a bit. Hey guys, CreamCrazy here, back after that intermission, which was the Undertaker's entrance, which I recorded. And I'm going to keep that and treasure it for the rest of my life. Guys, holy crap. WrestleMania 30 is done. It's taken us, me and Rico, a bit of time to get back to the hotel, but fuck. I never thought WrestleMania would be this awesome, but my god. I'm imploring any one of you who has not been to a WrestleMania live, you do it. You do it. I don't care which year you do it. You must. You must make that pilgrimage to pro wrestling Mecca once. And I am so pleased I have done it. And you know what? Guys, I'm not in the right frame of mind to do a review, a full analytical review right now, because I drank every single bit of that night in. I drank every single thing I could, including water out of my commemorative WrestleMania cup in my upgraded seats. I was originally in the 200 section. I ended up getting upgraded to the risers on the non-TV side of the arena, and it was glorious. As a wrestling fan, you know, I've been to Progress shows, I've been to TV tapings. For me, nothing is going to top this, unless I go to another WrestleMania, but honestly, guys, this show was all kinds of awesome for so many different reasons, and I can't do a review now because I'm sitting here exhausted with a hoarse throat, and there is nothing I can do to say I'm going to do a full 40-50 minute analytical review. This is my reaction, and this will be my reaction to the event I have witnessed maybe an hour or so ago. And if you don't like that, tough. Because you're going to have to wait till the DVD comes out before I end up doing it. Now, you heard Rico in the first part. He wanted to do the video with me. Fantastic. He's a bit tired out, exhausted, not in the best of moods after one result in particular. But you know what? Everyone needs rest after having to sit through that long a wrestling event. But unfortunately, I have to do my duty and give you guys the reaction to the event, which we're not going to stop talking about for about 2 weeks. Even more so in one particular case. The pre-show was great, to say the least. I mean, we have a massive Fatal 4-Way Elimination tag match. Can't go wrong with how the crowd just ate it up. It was better than we expected by any stretch. And there were some good spots in there. Particularly the electric chair crossbody with El Torito included off the top rope to Curtis Axel, which was brilliant. The Usos got a good win in a very fast, very intense match. And Cesaro turned on Swagger after he got pinned. So, I got what I wanted from this, there's no doubt. Then, the fireworks go off, we all go insane. Hulk Hogan comes out, and I'm expecting, after he botches the Silverdome line, we then decide, okay, what's going to happen? Is Bad News Barrett coming out? He doesn't, because we get Stone Cold Steve Austin. He corrects him, and I'm on cloud 9 at this point, thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, I get to see an Austin entrance for the first time in my life. I get to see a Hulk Hogan entrance for the first time in my life, live. And I'm thinking this could not get any better. Rock comes out, and I'm losing my shit. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of either Hogan or Rock, but I was marking out like a motherfucker in my seat, standing, doing whatever the hell I needed to do to soak it all in and go, oh my god, this is incredible. A WrestleMania moment, and a moment I'm not going to forget anytime soon. That I saw the three greatest of this WrestleMania era, and probably the three greatest of all time, in the ring at the same time, toasting fucking cold ones. Two WrestleMania saying, you've made it this far, but it's now time for the talent of today to do their bit. And the fact that there weren't too many older cameos. In fact, the only backstage segments there were Mean Gene Okerlund and Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff, Hogan, and Mr. T reconciling from WrestleMania 1, and a segment with the Lego rip-off WWE toys, where $1 Million Man takes them away, and Ron Simmons damned them all for it. And that was all. I mean, that was all there was. I mean, it was fun, to say the least. First off, we had Daniel Bryan and Triple H in a very physical match, a very drama-driven matchup, and it was a perfect beginner. I had a feeling it was going to either happen later or happen here, but
to have this open was a great idea. It lived up to my expectations and more. It was fantastic. Bar none was fantastic. Storytelling in this was brilliant. The working on Daniel's arm was great. The Tiger suplex, do I even need to say more? We didn't get a screwy finish, but we got a screwy ending, which made me kind of happy in knowing it was foreshadowing the main event. Can't go wrong. Daniel Bryan got the win. He beat Triple H clean. The crowd went batshit. And, yeah. Well and good. Then, Shield vs. Kane and the Outlaws finished itself off pretty quickly. Shield got their victory. Looked dominant as hell doing it. And apparently Billy Gunn had to go to hospital. And overall, it was just fun. You know, it was a quick match, but the Shield looked dominant as hell. It was just great to see. Cesaro won the Battle Royal, which was unexpected for me, because I had no idea he was in the damn thing until I got back out from getting my food. And to see him win in the best way possible by taking Big Show, lifting him up, and then planting him over the side of the ropes and onto the floor, it was a great WrestleMania moment for him. It was a great match for him. And Lord knows what's happening with Cesaro next. Now, what is this trophy going to resemble to him? And honestly, I'm thinking about Raw tomorrow night. What the hell is happening? What the hell is happening in regards to Swagger? You know, is he going to destroy it or what? Who knows? Then we get to Cena versus Wyatt, which had, again, very good storytelling elements. Very good storytelling elements, trying to get him disqualified, trying to make Cena be... I mean, Cena's facial reactions, movements, the lot, were absolutely stunning. I mean, I have often ripped John Cena apart in the past for doing poor psychology, but my God, he played his part to a T. The 5-knuckle shuffle into the Exorcist Spider Walk, the highlight of the damn match. The crowd popped massively for it, and I gotta tip my hat, which my hat's on the other side of the room, but who cares, to Mark Crozer, formerly of the Jesus and the Mary Chain, for performing Live in Fear live. It was incredible. And the promo segment beforehand, I had shivers. Legacy by Eminem, perfect choice. And honestly, even though everyone else is pissed off about, especially Final Limits, about Cena's victory, I said in my predictions, I'm not going to be pissed. I mean, during this entire match, minus one occasion, I didn't cheer Cena, I didn't boo Cena. I was right down the middle for him. And I said, if he wins, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, the storyline will end with the Wyatt family winning. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that Extreme Rules, the Wyatts win, and that's going to be how it is. But then we get to the moment... The moment and the result and overall the match, this entire pay-per-view is ultimately going to be remembered for. You know what? The one thing I can say about this is I'm gutted. I am stunned. But overall I'm happy for two reasons. One, Taker doesn't have to wrestle till he's 50 and risk hurting himself even more. And two, me, Rico, Ray, the rest of the 72,000 in there, we witnessed history. Most other things like title matches and retirements and big moments, they could be classed by anyone's jurisdiction as historical. Well, seeing that man, The Undertaker's streak, end at the hands of Brock Lesnar is going to be a moment that will live on forever as the most historical loss, the most shocking loss that we have ever seen. And I am happy because I can say to anyone that I was there to see it. And that's the pride within me, saying, this is the kind of thing that if I was at home right now, if I was in East Anglia watching this on Sky Box Office in the widescreen TV in my lounge, I would be punching whatever the hell I could find around me, because I would say, oh, for fuck's sake, I missed this. But I'm not. I'm happy. because I saw history happen in front of me. I saw Taker's last bow at a WrestleMania, and sure, the match was quite poor. It was methodical, it was slow, but I had to say it was aggressive, and that's all I could really take from it. But ultimately the match doesn't matter because the result does. The Undertaker's streak is at 21-1, and the fan reaction, I mean, seeing it on TV is one thing, but seeing that reaction live, there is nothing that would have prepared me for that. Fans behind me and around me chanting bullshit. The fans where Rico was sitting left the arena wanting refunds. The guy sitting right behind me had the Beast will rest in peace sign, and he'd waited 23 years to see The Undertaker wrestle at a WrestleMania live, and he lost. And at the end of the night, even with Daniel Bryan's victory, when we were all so pleased for, we left that dome deflated, broken, stunned, speechless, and hell now I still even can't comprehend it myself. This is a moment that will live on forever, and you know what? You all complain about there not being any unpredictable moments in professional wrestling. We got the biggest of them all tonight. And even though Brock Lesnar being the victor and the one who broke the streak wasn't the best option, I can agree with it in 2 principles. One, I heard this from Eddie Michaels Jr. of WrestleZone on Twitter when I got home. The WWE wanted to ensure that the streak and Taker's legacy was not tarnished by giving it to a guy who was on the rise but ultimately would flop. Kind of like how a Fandango against Jericho ended up. As an example for this. And the second is that Taker has never beaten Brock Lesnar on pay-per-view. That is the one thing, along with the streak, that Paul Heyman will brag about, that Lesnar can hold with him. Even with any loss of momentum, he can say, 1, I beat the streak, and secondly, I am the only person, probably in the WWE's history, who has never lost to The Undertaker on pay-per-view. And you know what? Even Lesnar winning wasn't the best choice. I have to agree with it in some way. In some way. And that's only a small one. But, ladies and gentlemen, we've witnessed something we never thought would happen. And to that guy who I bumped into the other day, who said Lesnar's going to win, I just feel it, I want to apologise for discounting you and discounting anyone who thought it's possible. Because anything is possible in professional wrestling. And if you don't think that tagline means anything, look at this. Look at the picture that I posted on Twitter. Look at the fan reaction. Anything in pro wrestling can happen, and this is a poster child for it. There is no other doubt. There is no other way. This is the most shocking defeat in wrestling history. It is the biggest single deflation of fans that I have ever seen, that probably all of us have ever seen. And it is fucking monumental to say that I was there for it and that it's actually happened. You know, and before the F5 that won the match was hit, I had a feeling in my mind that Taker would come out on Raw tomorrow night and say, I'm retiring after this. I'm done. But to see the loss happen after that thought made me think, wow, I couldn't have been more right. Because you can't have any career end perfect. To my knowledge, no career has ended perfect. If you can correct me, I'd like you to do so. But Shawn Michaels' career didn't end perfectly, ended to the man whose career technically has ended tonight. Shawn Michaels himself retired Ric Flair. Those guys, you could have said anyone could have retired Shawn Michaels. Daniel Bryan could have retired Shawn Michaels. Ric Flair, I mean, Triple H probably could have done the same. Could have. I'm not saying it would have done, but it's a possibility. And honestly, to have a guy like Brock Lesnar end it may not be the best thing in the world, but nothing ever ends perfectly. Paul Bearer gets inducted in the Hall of Fame one night, and Taker's streak ends the next. It's hard to believe, and I still can't, even while talking about it to you guys. But it's happened. I'm speechless, gutted, all the superlatives you can think of. But unlike others, I'm not overall distraught by it. You know, I should be overly distraught, but in the end, Taker doesn't have to wrestle anymore. He doesn't have to injure himself anymore. He doesn't have to put himself through whatever pain he has. And honestly, we get a moment on the 30th anniversary. There's a true signal that the new era is upon us. There is no doubt. And now we get away from that huge emotional burden. AJ won the Divas Invitational, which we expected. Vicky Guerrero looked pissed. Let's hope the feud continues. Then the main event. We're still deflated. We're still bogged down with what's happened. And we all feel we need an emotional pickup. You know, we don't really believe that Taker is done with, that it's all over with. But of course, one man saved the night. For many, and it honestly made us all feel happier upon leaving the Superdome, even though we were still, as I've mentioned, feeling like we were left at a funeral on the way out. The match was really emotional, dramatic, and just intense as fuck. And I can't put it any other way. Honestly, it was nothing special, but we were just waiting for the inevitable, but it was still fantastic nonetheless. The high point, mostly from the midpoint onwards. Triple H coming in, trying to interfere. Couldn't. Scott Armstrong comes in to try and screw Bryan over. Doesn't happen. Triple H being hit in the head with his own sledgehammer, and then being hit with 2 suicide dives. Can't go wrong. The powerbomb neck drop combination through the announce table, which took Bryan pretty much out of it. Fantastic. And overall, the celebration at the end, even better. You know, having Batista to tap out was perfect. We didn't want Batista in there. The fans hated him, and it kind of opens the door for Orton to get his rematch at Extreme Rules and have it finish right there, done. Also, I want to point out that Rev Theory did perform voices live. Really cool, actually, I gotta say. I was singing along the entire way through. The confetti was raining down. I did catch some in my cup, but it got soaked, so I had to bin it. I could have brought some back, but what would be the point of carrying a huge lump of confetti back to East Anglia? Honestly, though, guys, this was a night that we can all say was one of the best WrestleManias in years. From a network perspective, apparently from what I've heard from people, the network went without a hitch. All good. And for my first and probably only WrestleMania experience, this was worth every single fucking penny. And I thank my dad and my family for giving this to me as a birthday and Christmas present combined, because my god, it felt like that and more. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had, and probably is up there. I can now cross America and Mania off my bucket list. But the cherry on top of the cake that tastes so sour is that we saw such joy in Daniel Bryan's victory against it all, but then we look at The Undertaker and think, wow. Just wow. And I'd like to end this on one last point. I said this to one of the fans next to me who were fantastic in keeping me company. They were fantastic in making me feel welcome in this wonderful city. I made this point after the Taker match and after Daniel Bryan's beating of Triple H. Purple and gold is the death knell for the old. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is a star of a new era. Cesaro is on the way up. Bray Wyatt will get his revenge on Cena and put him down. And we've seen Daniel Bryan get to the top. And I cannot wait for Raw. Tomorrow night in the Smoothie King Center. Fucking hell, sponsorship. And I can't wait because it's going to be hilariously awesome. But it's going to be heavily emotional in other ways. And, yeah. This is going to be a very hard night to fall asleep in. It's going to be a hard night to regain focus. But I've been to a WrestleMania. And there's not much more I can say. Guys, I have been Cream Crazy. You've been people watching and listening. I've never thought I'd say that in one vid. This has been the Hall of Fame and the WrestleMania reaction. I'd like to thank Rico for being here on the first part. And, guys, I will see you tomorrow for the Raw review. I'm not doing a fucking reaction for that, but the review for that will happen. And I will see you for a full review of this pay-per-view when it comes out on DVD. And I will see you guys. And I just hope, even though there is negative feelings around this show, I am hoping we can all just say, at the end, WrestleMania 30 was a huge success either way. Cheers, guys. Take care of yourself, and I will see you tomorrow.
This is my legacy.